Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host at Beerfield Hop with 2 P's. As always, joined by at Beerfield Thury with 2 F's. Wait, there's not 2 F's in Beerfield Thury.
Nope.
No, not anywhere are there 2 F's with Beerfield Thury.
There's just going to be 2 E's now. So Beerfield Thury with 2 E's.
There's 2 E's in Beerfield Hop too, though. See?
See?
I think by changing our
2 P's.
I think by changing our Twitter handle, you just totally broke my intro.
Well, I mean, I'm here to keep you on your toes, so.
Well, I guess that's...
Dude, let's talk about the fireside chat we got. And then that song you just played. That song was
We
fire.
do have a fireside chat going on right now because I found out Zoom has something called immersive view, so we're going to be next to a fire tonight. I don't know what that's about. The other thing, the band. Not WCW this time. Week off from that, but my cousin was talking to me after I helped him with his fantasy draft, which... We're going to dissect some fantasy drafts on this episode. And one of the questions was, why don't you have an Awkward Pause intro, which is his local Springfield area band. So we're doing an Awkward Pause intro. So
just have them write us an intro for us.
Oh, I'm going to. But hold on. Do you want to have an Awkward Pause real quick?
Let's do it.
Actually, this is where the rant in the song hits. It's like total emo rant forever, but we're just going to go with this for a minute. Awkward Pause for 30 seconds. I lost count of what 30 seconds is.
It amuses me.
All right, we're going to kill that now. All right, cool. So, we got a bunch of draft breakdowns for you going on. We've got training camp stuff, a bunch of cuts, a bunch of depth charts to get into. We got some sports news that's not in the NFL world to get into. There's a lot to pack in this week, so I don't think that it does us any good to waste any time here on getting into what we got to get into because there is a shitload to cover. Let's just get straight into what we're drinking here. One thing we do need to cover before we get there, though, by the way. Fantasy Nightcap?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, Shane. If
we love you, Shane.
Listen to episode 333 where Shane Barrett got drunk as shit with us. We were on his podcast finally on Monday, Fantasy Nightcap. And if you want to hear us be real analysts, go there because we had real analytical insight for the NFC North on that show. A lot less of that happens here. We can still do it. So be sure to go check that out. It launched the other day. So Fantasy Nightcap with Beerfield. Be sure you look at that. Shane's a good guy, very smart guy. Put up with our shit for an evening, and I think it worked out pretty well. So
it was a great show. We got to dissect their favorite teams. We didn't spend any long times on any players, which means you probably weren't drunk enough, but
total opposite of what we do on this show, by the way, if you want to see us put on a different hat. It was
actually prepared.
Analytical, it was thought out, it was intelligent. Not at all.
We went back
what we
to the
do
well.
here.
Like we haven't been all those things in 3 years. Basically since Nick left. I think Nick forced us to be. Just imagine now, like if we were what we were 2 years ago or 3 years ago, like today, like we would be, like you take what we know now, what we've learned through the last 5 years, and then put that down 5 years or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, be a lot different.
For sure.
Nick, get done with school so we can, we can maybe try that again.
For sure. All right. Let's do this.
What's fueling Beerfield?
It's just how I'm going to do transitions now is let's do this.
Let's do this.
You got some whiskey, Dan.
I do.
A bottle from me that I don't remember getting you. So here we go.
I think it was from you.
If it's JJ Newcomb, I'm pretty sure it was.
It had to have been from you. So this is JJ Newcomb. This is their Missouri single malt whiskey.
Most spirits.
This was I believe was a gift from Hopper. I want to say you got me it for Christmas.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure I cracked open a drink of it the night I clinched the championship in my home or in our home dynasty league.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was that.
I might have.
I'm pretty sure it was that year.
Spirits of St. Louis, by the way, down here in St. Louis, Missouri, does this. They do Vermont Night, which is a maple syrup infused version of that. But Square One Brewery also there. So in Lafayette Square neighborhood of St. Louis, really good place. Good beer, good spirits, great food. I don't know if I've actually taken you to the distillery or not, but
I don't think so.
yeah, we'll have to do that.
We'll make a trip there.
Yeah, because you won't ever be in St. Louis again, right?
Right.
So
What would ever go there for? That place.
I'm still thrown off by the fact that there's a fire behind us. All right, so you got that. I got something from Modern Brewing. It is called Modern Mimosa. It is a mimosa-inspired kettle sour. Modern Brewery is out of St. Louis, Missouri. So, mimosa-inspired kettle sour. We'll go through that and these really and let you know what we think about halfway through the episode. We won't forget to do the review this time, like last week.
We will not forget.
By the way, for anyone that was wondering, getting double fisted, great idea. It tasted fantastic. So, if you're ever wondering about being double fisted, it's good.
What does double fisted feel like? Well, it felt pretty good.
It tasted sweet.
I mean, it drank very good.
It tasted sweet. It was pretty solid. All right. Like I said, we got a lot to get into. So, I want to start with... We're going to go into some news here. Actually,
okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and hit it because we're going to go to some news beyond the sports world, and I haven't used this drop in a while. So, we're going to do the drop.
News.
Just haven't used the drop in a while, so got to. All right, some news. We got some NFL news and some news from around the sports world, and this does not include any cuts or anything like that. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I want to start with Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
So, I was listening to a insider on Pat McAfee's show. I don't know if you've seen or heard this yet. Part of the hang-up on a settlement on these 22 suits is that Busby, the plaintiff's attorney, wants basically a gag order on Watson and Rusty Hardin. So if they settle, they don't want them to be able to talk about why they settled or for how much, which to me seems really weird for a plaintiff's attorney to say that we don't want the defendant to talk about why they settled or for how much. Watson and Rusty Hardin, on the other hand, are like, hey, they're pretty much taking the stance of, if you want to settle, that's fine, but we're going to be able to talk about it. We're going to be able to talk about how much we gave you. We're going to be able to talk about why we made the decision to settle and what's going on with that, and the plaintiffs have said no. So, a little weird.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not... Look, if you've listened to the show, you've heard me talk about my theories with it, and I am really not trying to play into that with this statement, but it is weird that is a plaintiff. You do not want the defendant to talk about the reason why they chose to settle or to talk about the amount. That you just want to hush everything and keep it down low.
It seems...
There's a lot that doesn't add up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to get into lawyer jargon. That's not my field. That's not anywhere near the strength of mine. So it sounds weird. People in the chat will let us know how weird that actually is. By all means, please say something. But
Well,
The whole situation keeps getting weirder and weirder. I mean, as we talked about. So.
I mean, forgotten and mildly unknown fact about me, at least on this show, is that I spent, the first, 2006 to basically 2012. So I spent basically 6 years of my first few years of my IT career working at a law firm. But medical malpractice, shit like that. But I'm not unfamiliar with legal jargon. And it is obscure for somebody bringing a lawsuit to not want a settlement discussed or reasons for a settlement discussed, right? Because normally a settlement is a form of, legally it's not always, but from a viewpoint, if you're settling, you're pretty much acknowledging that there was some fault here, and we're going to settle for this amount so it doesn't go any further. Like we've agreed there's fault here, and this is what we're covering it, and we don't need a judge to decide it. So to not want somebody to talk about that when you're trying to prove fault, it's fucking weird.
Fucking weird.
So, Watson, by the way, all things point to he's not starting the season for the Texans, though.
I don't think anyone.
There's been rumors about Miami from some random-ass Twitter account that said, per my sources, so I'm just going to start tweeting things that say, per my sources, at the beginning and hope that they catch on. I have no sources, but if I say per my sources, it makes it sound like I'm credible. So
It makes you sound like you know things.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
For those who didn't catch my tweet at Beerfield Hop about, per my sources, Mac Jones is going to be the starter for New England now that Cam Newton was cut. I mean, that was breaking
Spot on.
news,
I mean,
right?
I mean, you're
spot
not-
on, right?
I mean,
I'm
you
a
weren't lying.
Big A analyst now.
That's right.
We'll get more into cut downs and everything later. Couple other sports stories I want to get to. You're a hockey fan.
I do.
Have you seen the Hurricanes level of petty?
No, but I'm going to look this up.
It's pretty good. So, a couple of years ago, the Canadians put in so restricted free agency in hockey basically works like this. You have exclusive rights to a player. If another team offer sheets that player and they sign it, you have the right to match that. If you do, the player essentially signs back with you. If you do not, then the other team signs that player and you get basically draft pick compensation. So restricted free agency.
Yep.
A couple of years ago, Montreal decided as a way to drive up the price of Sebastian Aho, they were going to sign him to an offer sheet and force the Canadians to match that and pay more. So, this year, Montreal has a young player whose name I'm not going to try to remember. Was a restricted free agent. The Hurricanes not only signed him to an offer sheet, they gave him a $20 signing bonus, Sebastian Aho's number, and changed their Twitter profile to French, very much a Canadians thing, tweeted out an Uno reverse card,
Oh, Jesus.
and copied and pasted the exact same press release the Canadians used for the Aho offer sheet signing and just changed the names in it.
Oh, man, that's great.
Yeah. Is a
That's petty as fuck. That is
giant
that is
middle
hysterical,
finger.
Though.
Now, the flip side of it is they now got this player for $6.1 million
Yeah.
because that's what they signed him to and swiped him away. But, I mean, straight petty, and apparently it came from the owner to do that.
Big old fuck you.
Big ol' fuck you. And I just want to see more pettiness in sports.
That's what hockey needs.
It's what
bring on the pettiness.
everyone needs is more pettiness.
That's true. I mean, there's plenty of it on FF Twitter. So
Yeah.
if these teams want to borrow some, we got a lot to give out.
Indeed we do. Speaking of another petty thing, you see the Javi Baez and the Mets fiasco.
I saw something about it. I'm not sure what happened, but I saw
So,
some shit come out.
So basically, what it was is that the Mets have not been playing well the back half of the season. They've lost a division lead to be under 500 now. The fans are booing them. Javi Baez, Francisco Lindor, Michael Conforto, a few others came out with a thumbs down celebration whenever they get a hit or get on base. They just thumbs down. Baez, former Cub, so near and dear to my heart.
Yep.
Baez comes out in the media and says that the thumbs down is basically a middle finger to fans. Not in those exact words. He basically said that the fans are going to boo us when we're not doing well instead of be behind us. We're going to boo them when they're cheering us and are behind us. So we're going to give them thumbs down when we get on base. Pissed off Mets fans.
Oh, of course. New Yorkers are going to be rational.
The Mets came out and said that there's no place for that, stood behind the fans instead of the players. Next day, Baez gets booed. Bunch of thumbs down when he comes up to the plate. Scores the game-winning run from first on a single to left field.
That's amazing.
Immediately, he's being cheered with thumbs ups. And I will just say,
I hope he gave him the thumbs down, please.
before we get into fall, he didn't give him the thumbs down. No, he went and looked for his lost earring, including the GM that shredded him in the media a couple days before was also on the field having him look for his lost earring. But no, he did not. The fans ended up giving a thumbs up and cheering him. And I would just like to say to Mets fans, any of them that are listening to the podcast, hopefully not many, that's what it's like to have Javi Baez on your roster. I don't know what else to tell you. It's super frustrating. He strikes out a shitload, and then he does something really good. And you just got to learn how to appreciate it at all times. That's all there is to it.
I still wish you would have gave him the thumbs down.
I wish you would have
I want
also.
more pettiness in sports. Hopper, we need more pettiness.
We do
This has
need
been
more
perfect
pettiness.
moment for it. I would have loved it.
We do need more pettiness. What we don't need more of, actually, no, we're going to get into that in a little bit. All right, you got a draft you want to talk to me about?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, our boy. I want to say is, God damn it, I'm going to butcher his name. I shouldn't butcher his name. Hold on.
You know our boy. I don't remember his name.
Our name. It's Derek. He's the guy that we used to do all the.
Derek Brown?
Our Derek Hubbard.
Hubbard.
It's the guy that we used to do the his rookie draft analysis on.
Oh, yeah, Derek.
Yeah. So
Got
he
it.
did a little charity league or something like that.
I'm
Jesus.
pulling up a cut tracker, and CBS decides they're going to play all sorts of weird shit.
That's fair. So I joined up Derek Hubbard's his charity league. I joined it last year. I sucked. My team all got hurt. This year we had our drafts. We had our draft on Tuesday night. And let me tell you, if you're listening, because he likes when we go in depth with this draft. There's some bad picks. So before the show started, I told Hopper I'm gonna have him guess where Gus Edwards was drafted. This is probably the worst pick of them all, in my opinion. So why don't you? It's not like first round egregious, so it's not like the worst thing you can do. It's not like defense in the first round as a joke. Where do you think Gus Edwards was drafted?
Third round.
Close. Very, very close. Like one spot away from being.
Fourth round, 401.
He went 401.
Okay. So, yeah, and the reason I threw that out there is pretty much this. You told me it wasn't the first round, so I went to what do I think is on the high end of where people would draft Gus Edwards, and nailed it. So
let me tell you who he went above. 2 spots later, DeAndre Swift, 403.
okay.
4 spots later, went Miles Sanders. In the 5th round, Mike Davis, Damian Harris, and Chase Edmonds. Gus Edwards, the man with 0 pass catching upside because Baltimore doesn't throw to the running backs. Man who has yet to handle a full workload because he's been the backup. He's been the number 2 guy for the last 2 years. Been good at it. I think he'll be fine this year. but pick 37 in a 12-team league.
I mean, at that point, you might as well take Justice Hill late and see what the fuck happens rather than Gus Edwards. Knowing how Baltimore runs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the guy that's probably taken over the new Gus Edwards role. Was it Tavon Williams?
Yeah.
I'm not Tavon. Tyson Williams, excuse me.
Whatever.
He's a bigger guy. He's about the same seats. Like, he's about as big as Gus. But either way, that was pretty rough. That was I had to bring that up because when I saw it happen, I was shocked. You know, Mahomes went at the 207. Melvin Gordon went before Javonte Williams. They both went 5 spots between each other in the 6th round. So a bit rough.
A bit, yeah.
Robert Tonyan went in the 5th round. And this is a 12-team, I think it's like 16 total roster spots. So it's your basic of basic PPR scoring, light bench. So when you have a light bench, you spend that pick on Ramondre Stevenson. There's 6 people bench, so it's not a big bench. You got backups who won't matter. You have multiple people drafting. Someone who drafted Patrick Mahomes drafted Joe Burrow. So again, you wasted a roster spot on a backup quarterback when you only have 6 bench spots. Guys out there, if you're doing these single QB drafts, when you draft Patrick Mahomes, you don't draft another quarterback because if he gets hurt, you're fucked anyways. Or you start streaming. You don't need to draft Joe Burrow. He's literally no benefit to you. You're gonna drop him right away. It's like the guy that drafted Russell Wilson. He drafted Trevor Lawrence. The guy that drafted Josh Allen drafted Baker Mayfield. Why the fuck are we drafting 2 quarterbacks in single QB leagues when you have the elite guys? Just wait. If they get hurt, you're gonna pick up guys on the same spectrum and tier level. Anyways, you're just wasting roster spots at this moment. You know, things to learn as you enter the last, week or so of your drafts.
Boy, do I have a reason for that coming up.
I mean, yours is a little different if it's the one that I'm thinking of, but.
Well, are you talking about the home league my cousin did?
Yeah, the one that you and I were texting about. The one where Jarvis Landry went before Calvin Ridley.
Well, and the difference there is, for those casual listeners out there, if there are any, there's a reason that you should never put roster limits on your home leagues.
That too.
Because it forces people to do things like draft 2 kickers, 2 defenses, 2 quarterbacks, rather than extra running backs or wide receivers. So, putting roster limits on your home leagues never makes sense. Just don't do it. There's no benefit to it. There's nothing you're going to get out of it. But instead, you're forcing people to draft 2 kickers, 2 quarterbacks, 2 defenses, 2 tight ends, etc., because you're putting roster limits on. Again, just don't do it. But as long as we're breaking down home draft things, right? And we're going to get into
better than mine. Yours is a lot better than
we're going to get into some analysis here on what you do with home drafts.
Let's do it.
So I got roasted by a guy. I was shadow drafting for my cousin, right? Because I told him I would. So I'm shadow drafting in a home league for my cousin. And somebody decides to roast me for taking Calvin Ridley in the 4th round.
4th round, too.
Yeah.
Baby, this is great.
Right after he took Jarvis Landry. And I didn't realize it at the time. But we took Stephon Diggs in the 3rd. Right before this guy took Randall Cobb in the 3rd round. In the 3rd round.
Randall Cobb. This guy must be living in 2015.
Right. He took Tonyan in round 5.
I know that feeling.
We took Mixon, by the way. But he took Tonyan in round 5.
The fuck are these people doing?
A guy decided to roast me about a Calvin Ridley pick right after you took Randall Cobb and Jarvis Landry.
Oh, man. I want to know what was going through his head. And like, I got this motherfucker. Jarvis Landry's been a 1,000-yard guy the last 3 years or whatever the hell it's been.
I would have loved to have been there. Let's put it that way.
If we were a fly in that room.
I mean,
we
this is
never
a
been
league
swatted
where
because they keep missing.
this is a league where you got a wide receiver stack of Diggs, Ridley, Woods, and T. Higgins, and then I couldn't take Corey Davis because of roster limits.
You don't even need to take Corey Davis. I mean, first off, never put roster limits again. We're gonna really hammer that home. Roster limits are fucking stupid. Secondly, that receiving core. Wait, it's a limit of just 4 receivers. That's the limit.
Yeah, 4 receivers, start 3.
4 fucking receivers. I mean, at that case, you got to just draft all high end guys and sit and wait as guys are drafting Jarvis, Landry, and Randall Cobb. We the people need to hear updates on this guy's team throughout your
You'll get it.
season. I want to know. I want fucking weekly updates.
You'll get it. So I meant to go through the draft we talked about at the end of last week too. That one happened, and I meant to go through and kind of break down what people actually ended up keeping, but I didn't do it. But that draft ended up happening as well, so I want to make sure we spend some time on it since we talked about it last week, right?
Yeah.
So team 1, which was, I'm going to see if I can figure it out on the fly. It says Tony Nathan, and I don't see anything that even remotely lines up there. So to do that, I would have to... Yeah, this is difficult. Hold on. Who drafted Josh Allen? Anyway. 1 quarterback league, 101, Josh Allen.
Makes sense, I guess. Got to get them
There it
quarterback
is.
points.
I don't even know how that ended up as a 101, honestly, because it was a 15th round pick last year. Sony Michel, 202. Or 201. Sorry,
I wonder if
212.
they're just like fucked up keeper spots. And
That's what I'm checking on right now. Hold, please.
makes for great air. Live air.
That is not just fucked up keeper spots because Sony Michel was not on this team before. Was not on the same team as Josh Allen.
I mean, unless the website got it all fucked up, but
Well, no, I'm looking at pictures of physical draft boards.
well,
So,
then maybe the people are stupid. I don't know.
right. So, 1 quarterback league, 101, Josh Allen.
Must be a real big Bills fan.
212,
Just love-
Sony Michel. Nothing else egregious on that team. And again, I'm going to get to some real analysis here in a second. Second team was definitely a keeper. So it helps when you people name the same things the same every year. But anyway. So, yeah, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook was on one team. So Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry were kept from that team, which makes sense. When your top 3 picks were Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and or Joe Mixon and Derrick Henry.
I would have kept Mixon over Henry, but that's just me.
That's you. You're a Mixon truther.
No, I'm just I like pass catching upside.
I don't know what the scoring of this league is either. I don't know if pass
That's
catching
true.
matters.
Like if it's standard
so.
scoring, then I get it. Yeah.
But there was a Gus Edwards in the 4th round there.
Yeah, Gus Bus. Gus Bust? Maybe.
Back of the 4th, though.
Because that makes it a little better. But not really.
Yeah, it was the back of the 4th. Other than that, nothing egregious there. Next guy had Aaron Rodgers, Travis Kelce at the 103. Those were definitely his keepers, if I had to guess.
Oof.
Who else do you have on his team? So Travis Kelce, Aaron Rodgers. No, that was the right call because the other options were Evans, Cooper, Le'Veon Bell, Montgomery, Parker, Lindsey. But the problem is that you kept Rodgers and Kelce at a 101 and 102 draft capital. Or a 101 a first and second round draft capital.
I mean, you don't need to keep, I don't know why people, why did he feel like he had to keep Rodgers? I would have kept David Montgomery with, a 3rd or 4th
That's
round
okay.
pick.
He drafted Montgomery in the 3rd round again.
I would have just you could have just kept Montgomery and then just drafted Rodgers in the 6th round. I mean, granted, Josh Allen goes 101, so who the fuck do I know? But
Well, and I'm assuming who he kept, right? Because Kelsey and Rodgers were his first and second round pick last year. Montgomery was his 6th, which means it would have been a 4th round pick.
4th
No.
round pick.
So,
That'd have been
no,
fine.
he didn't keep Montgomery. He just drafted Montgomery again a round higher. So, that's bad keeper strategy. The reason we're
That's-
reviewing
that's
this
bad
draft is to
everything.
talk keeper strategy, right? You could have let Rodgers go and probably redrafted him, or Kelsey go and probably redrafted him and gotten Montgomery at a 1-round discount of where you redrafted him. So
I'm gonna say this too. You should almost 95% of the
not
time never
keep-
keep keepers. Just don't keep quarterbacks.
you should
in
not keep
single
quarterbacks
QBs.
in single quarterback leagues unless they're an extreme value. Like if you took Josh Allen in the 15th and could keep him at 13th round value.
If you're taking Josh Allen that late, though, something has to tell me you probably drafted well, or at least wasn't dumb, and had better keepers still. You should almost,
Probably.
under no circumstance, keep a quarterback in a single QB.
But
league for 2 years.
almost under no circumstance. That one
Almost,
circumstance
I-
is you took a stud quarterback late and the first part of your draft sucked.
Yeah,
It's the
that
only
would be. Yeah,
the
you
only
have
time.
no worthwhile keepers, and if you're studying your draft and knowing their keepers, you can be tipped off to this.
Did Robert Tunyon get drafted? No, sorry, different draft. Okay. Sorry. It's like, did Robert Tunyon get drafted twice?
That'd be amazing.
No, nothing.
So good. He drafted him twice.
Nothing weird about that. All right, my buddy Cody, who we talked about, did exactly what I told him to do. He kept Nick Chubb. Chubb went up to his first round pick, though. I haven't broken this down to see what else would have been available. And then he kept Harris. So he got Damian Harris at a steal, basically. I think he kept Harris at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You said ninth
Ninth
round.
round.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
we
kept
talked
Chubb,
it.
kept Harris. After that, he got Ridley, Joe Mixon, Adam Thielen, Julio Jones, T. Higgins, T.J. Hawkinson, Russell Wilson.
It's a great.
It's a good team.
It's a good team. I would have probably gone. I'm not Thielen with. I guess depending on where he got him. I'm not.
He got
Thielen.
Thielen.
Same with Julio.
He got Thielen in the 4th round. He went right after. Hold on. Let me make sure that's after 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Right after Robert Woods. The wide receivers that went ahead of him were.
Who went behind him? That's what I really want to know. Who went behind Thielen? Like who went after
4.
Thielen?
After Thielen, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, and then he took Julio Jones.
That's I would
Chris
have much rather.
Godwin, DJ Moore.
I would have much rather have both Robert Woods and Tyler Lockett over.
That's
both
what I just preached to Morgan
Julio
too.
Thielen too. Yeah.
That's what I just preached to Morgan too. But T.
It's- I
Higgins, I think, is the real wide receiver 2 on that team anyway. And then you hope you get a 3 out of Jones or Thielen.
Yeah. Between Thielen and Julio,
And
if some of these teams sounded as bad as they are, he has I'm not high on Nick Chubb, but it depends. He was able to get Mixon. It's not the worst pairing in the world.
you got Chubb and Mixon as your 2 running backs. You've got a wide receiver core that's going to be Ridley, Higgins, and then either Jones or Thielen. Hawkinson's your tight end. Russell Wilson is your quarterback. You also have Damian Harris.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it was Raheem Mostert, Tony Pollard. Don't know why on Pollard.
He's an RB5.
He also took Marquez Callaway and Amon-Ra St. Brown late, so he listened to the show. He told me he did.
He got both our favorites.
So we got both of
There
our
we go.
favorite late-round wide receiver stashes. Because he did tell me he listened, and if you're drafting Marquez Callaway and Amon-Ra St. Brown late, you definitely listened. And
There's a sign of you listening to our show.
let's just go into this again for anybody that's listening for late-round draft advice, right? Why do you like Marquez Callaway?
Wide receiver number 1 on the Saints offense. Jameis Winston is your starter, so you're going to have a more of a vertical passing game. Michael Thomas isn't back till halfway through the season, and that's if. I still think there's a chance that he just may not play. The Saints just may not activate him. And he just sits on IR. This Saints team is on the fringe of being just bad this year, depending on what we get from Jameis. Not to say that Jameis has always been elite, but this Saints team is not going to be great, in my opinion. And Michael Thomas just may not want to play. Like, he may not even want to play with them. Like, the fact that there's been beef between him and the team, he's all over social media about it. Callaway has a chance to carve out a real role and be a first half league winner, which is a good start to build it on that. And you can get him as your wide receiver 5 or 6 is perfect, because you don't have to ride Julio and Thielen early on until we see, how these passing games, to see what the Titans do and to see, what the Vikings passing game looks like too. So it's a big steal.
Yeah, and for me, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I talked about it a little bit on Shane's show. But it's basically this. The Lions have a bad defense. They're not going to be up a lot. They're going to have to throw a shitload. They have an offensive line to protect Goff. And you're betting on Tyrell Williams as a wide receiver 1. I mean, look, if you're not going to throw in on Tyrell Williams, who you know what he is, Amon-Ra St. Brown's a slot receiver that could serve as a Cooper Kupp to Jared Goff in Detroit, that is a great route runner, that plays with a hard nose and a lot of attitude, which is a Dan Campbell-type player. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is essentially free in your drafts. He's a late-round pick that figures to see some volume in an obscure wide receiving core that is a rookie with some huge upside. Also, let's just never mind the fact that I'm pretty good about hitting on obscure rookie wide receivers. So I'm going to say
he's
that.
Not really obscure, though.
Like,
I mean, he was a popular favorite, pre-draft for not just us, but for...
Let's put it this way. Rarely do I lock in on a rookie wide receiver that does not hit in the first 3 years. Let's put it that way.
Well, we needed him to hit this year for redraft.
You need him to hit this year in redraft, right? And I think you will.
I will say this. You don't need the draft Amon-Ra St. Brown, not because I think he's bad, because he's not. He should be the most talented receiver in that whole depth chart. The fact that he's not starting is a little concerning, because these players suck, but yet he can't, surpass them. What we do know is that he'll get opportunity. What I want to tell you, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, is that watch his snaps and how many routes he's running. Great tool to use that. It's playerprofile.com. I will tell you both. Watch it. You don't want to be on these guys when they're breaking out. You want to be on them the week or two before. So watch it. Because my fear is Amon-Ra's not going to do shit week 1. He'll get dropped because he's most people's last pick. And then you just sit and wait on him. You need to use that spot on a backfield back that all it takes is one injury. Because Amon-Ra, he may be one injury away, but it's still, low volume offense. And while I think he'll get his chance, the fact that he hasn't done it yet is a bit concerning for me. But throw him on the watch list, watch the snaps and routes run, and then pounce on him a week or two before you leave.
There's a rookie. He hasn't had a chance to do it yet. Preseason don't count. Preseason's not real.
I mean, it's not like he's behind these strong cast of characters here.
True.
So, but we'll see. Like I said, just take that rule of thumb everywhere else, though. Like, if you're going to wait on receivers,
all right,
be smart about it.
Moving on to the next team, he started Patrick Mahomes, who was a keeper. But then it was Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Robert Woods. So, he kept Patrick Mahomes at first-round value, who was his first-round pick last year.
It's so dumb.
I said A.J. Brown, right?
Yeah. It's Brown.
So A.J. Brown was his other keeper.
Okay.
He had A.J. Brown at 5th-round value last year. He kept him in the 3rd.
It's about right.
Well, like I said, Cody told us we talked about these guys, and they went and listened. So,
well, some of them did.
Some of them did, right? Did. And then Tyreek Hill was actually dropped, so he got a Mahomes Hill stack in the first 2 rounds, which actually makes the Mahomes in the first-round pick a little better. So he's rolling Hill, A.J. Brown, Robert Woods as his 3 wide receivers. Weak at running back, though. It's Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders, Melvin Gordon, A.J. Dillon. You'll find 2 startable people out of that, though, I think. Tight end Higbee, Buccaneers defense way too early. Also took the Patriots defense. Immediately invalidated yourself by taking 2 DSTs. When you don't have to. A couple people did. Next team was Chase Claypool at a first-round value. Rob Gronkowski in the second. Discuss. No? Did I kill you? Did I think I murdered Dan, or I'm still talking. Dan is playing with his microphone right now, trying to figure out why it's not coming through.
So confused.
There you are. There you are.
Oh, hold on. I just
Fucking mute button. There we go. All right. Are we good now?
We're good now.
All right. For some reason, it changed to my webcam mic.
Chase Claypool, Rob Gronkowski, first 2 rounds.
I've heard everything. And first off, okay, so Gronk should never be kept. Like, why the fuck is he being kept in the first place? And why was he a 4th-round pick? And more importantly, why the fuck was Chase Claypool a 3rd-round pick last year as a rookie?
I'm trying to figure out what happened with this team. Hold on. Trevor. Let me see if I can find old Trevor here on the last
first
team.
round kept value
I'm
for
trying.
Chase Claypool.
Well, no, I don't think he was kept because he wasn't a 3rd-round value last year, right? So
There's no way he was I mean, again, this league is not shocking to me. If
it's a home league.
Yeah.
But no, he was
Probably
not kept
Pittsburgh
last
fan.
year. So who was kept? Edwards-Helaire, McLaurin, Carson, Brady, Komet. This might be a new team.
He took Claypool and he still got McLaurin. Oh, man.
I hate everything.
Home leagues are fun, though. Home leagues are a blast. Like,
Yeah, I can't figure out what the hell happened here.
because once you know your shit and you start to see just how bad some of your friends and family drafts,
Yeah.
it's still a lot of fun because there's no guarantee that you'll win it. And then you'll see some just crazy shit happen. Like your uncle gets paid off because he took fucking, James Robinson in the 2nd round.
So
Bullshit like that.
next team, Barkley, Kamara were his first 2-round picks last year. Those are the 2 keepers this year.
Damn, good for him.
So Barkley, Kamara, but then went Darren Waller in the 3rd.
I'm fine with that. That dude's gonna be a target monster.
Robinson, Godwin, Swift, Darrell Henderson.
I mean, you don't need Henderson, but Swift. I mean, Godwin. That's a.
IU Chase,
fine, though.
Tyler Boyd. He got the Bengals' #1 receiver in Tyler Boyd.
Give me 1B.
1B.
Come on, you can't.
I can't hate T. Higgins. I love T.
Higgins
Higgins.
is gonna.
T.
feast.
Higgins has been one of my favorite values in this
Higgins
draft.
and Boyd have been great. Boyd's been the best value. So you got Ayuk and Boyd. You said.
You got Ayuk and Boyd and Chase.
And Chase.
Yeah.
You don't need to draft 2 receivers from the same team, but that's fine.
Yep. Next guy kept Adams. Let's see. Who did he keep? Sorry, I should have had all this put together beforehand. So he kept Devonte Adams, who was his first-round pick last year. He kept him again. And then it looks like Keenan Allen was the other keep at 4th-round value. Yeah.
That's good.
Or was he not? Because Keenan Allen's on the board as a 3rd-round pick. Keenan Allen should have been 4th-round value for him.
Then he probably didn't keep
Was
him.
that a cut or redraft? Because again, that's another situation where if you didn't keep him, did you keep Aaron Jones? No? Trying to figure out who he kept. Because Allen should have been a 4th-round pick if that's who he kept. Was it Hopkins? No? Cooper? Jackson? Allen, Connor, Taylor, Cooper, Jackson, Gronk, Eckler, Diva. It might have been Eckler. It was Eckler. He kept Eckler at... This is actually okay. I can't roast this. So he kept Adams at 1st-round value. He redrafted Keenan Allen around higher than he would have been as if he had kept him.
I think we talked about
But he got Austin Eckler at a 6th round pick.
Yeah, I think we talked about this one being. I thought it should have been Eckler,
I think he did too.
Allen too, because I think that would have been better value. Because it would have been 4th round value.
Yeah, but he ended up Adams 1st round and then taking Eckler as a 6th round pick, which is still good value on Eckler.
Yeah, I mean you're always keeping Eckler there,
and then you redrafted Allen at the 3rd, which is not high. So,
in keeper these guys are going to get pushed up a little bit. So I mean it's not the worst argument in the world to keep Allen or to keep Adams over Allen.
Right. No, I agree with that. So Zeke, Najee Harris, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Javonte Williams. I'm assuming Zeke was the keeper here.
Had to be.
Zeke was the keeper there.
Wait, did he keep Wasn't Jefferson a 15th round pick in this league? Someone got him for cheap.
Somebody got him cheap, but I think he might have been cut loose.
Jefferson in the 15th round is, and I don't care who you have.
Somebody
You could
did
have-
get Jefferson cheap.
I thought you said he was like he was super late.
He
on
was.
all that.
I'm going to try to find it. It might take me a minute, so hold on.
Oh God.
He was later, though. I know that. Johnson, Gage, Kirk, Claypool. This is great radio. That's what happens when you don't prep, right? Yeah, Justin Jefferson was a late round pick, and looks like he might have went to a team that didn't return. And it looks like if a team doesn't return, they dissolve their picks for someone new. Because I haven't seen any of these guys on this guy's team in the league, and I don't think I see his name either. So he ended up. So Jefferson was on a team that didn't return, so they dissolved that team is what happened.
Okay, that makes sense then.
So that's why Jefferson wasn't kept.
Okay.
He kept Zeke, and he kept, let's see, who else did he keep? Not Edwards-Helaire, Godwin, Fournette, Ertz, probably Metcalf. Yeah. He kept Zeke at 1st round value, Metcalf at 4th round value.
That's good.
So he started Zeke, Najee Harris, then went Jefferson, Metcalf. That's a really good start.
Good start. Yeah.
And then ruined
take
it with
that.
Javonte Williams in the 5th.
Yeah, a little high, but
Deontay Johnson, Kyler Murray. Logan Thomas, by the way. Logan Thomas, one of my favorite sleeper tight ends. If you're looking for somebody that's going to get target volume, look, Washington added Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel hurt, not necessarily known as a target hog. So right now, Logan Thomas and Antonio Gibson stand to be the next 2 highest target getters behind Terry McLaurin there.
the only issue with, I won't say an issue because I still like Logan Thomas is he's going in that 6 to 8 range. I mean, it's fine, but it's not.
It's not lovable, but
It's yeah. I guess. I mean, I don't disagree with you that I think he should pay off on a value.
and he got him round 8, so he got him tight end wise. It looks like it would have
The
been
earliest I think he should go.
It would have been
we're talking about
around
sleeper wise. Yes.
Goddard and Tunyon.
Yeah, which is, those guys are all within the same tier for me. So
Wanted to do all this though, just get the last guy who he kept McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, but I think he did what we told him to do, which was he kept Stephon Diggs at a 7th round value
yeah, that's just fucking nuts.
to
Those
go with
9th
Christian
round
McCaffrey at a 1st round value, and then stack Jonathan Taylor on top of that, and
My
DJ
man.
Moore and Cortland Sutton on top of Diggs.
Ooh.
So
It just may be hard. 6
Yeah.
to midnight, folks.
yeah, it's a good team. So anyway, the reason we've done that exercise the last 2 weeks isn't to bore you to death. It is to remind you as you come into your drafts this year, there's strategy when it comes to keepers. You need to know how your league does keepers, and the thing to remember is this. If your league does keepers at 1st and 2nd round value for your keepers, then you need to decide, is the player that I'm going to keep a 1st or a 2nd round value to me? If not, you don't keep them. For a league like that, and again, that league was players are kept 2 rounds higher than what you drafted them the year before, there may be an obvious high round draft pick that you can keep. But there may also be something like a Justin Jefferson in the 15th or a Stephon Diggs in the 9th that is a lot better value if you keep them than keeping your surefire high round draft picks. So when you're doing keepers that are anything other than keeping them at the first and second round, you not only are looking for studs, you are looking for value. And that may mean keeping a Damian Harris at a 7th round value instead of somebody that's a locked-in top 3 running back that you took in the 3rd round. Because Damian Harris is going to outproduce 7th round value. That guy you took in the 3rd round or in the 2nd round that's going to be a 1st round pick now, man, I'd outperform that. So that's what that exercise is there to show. We wanted to give a little insight into strategize your keepers.
Like it. Now we have all this news.
Yeah,
Cuts.
we should get some cuts.
Let's do this.
I'm kind of going to go team by team as we get into it. So Mitch Trubisky won the backup quarterback job in Buffalo over Jake Fromm and Davis Webb. Not shocking.
Oh, shocking.
Nothing
Totally joking, guys.
big really happened in Buffalo.
I mean, Buffalo, yeah. They're gearing up for another run.
They are. Patrick Laird cut for Miami, so it is going to be
The God.
Ahmed, Malcolm Brown, and Miles Gaskin to start there.
Miles Gaskin to the moon.
Robert Foster also cut, just if you're looking for names.
Aw.
Not a lot to go with there. New England, we got to talk about this. Cam Newton.
We do. This is kind of big. Kind of big.
Yeah, so Cam Newton was cut. 2 things. First off, if you're like me and you took a lot of Mac Jones in Superflex leagues, congratulations. Second off, if you're like me, you took a lot of Damian Harris in places, congratulations, because it's just opened up goal line work. And a lot of people are thinking it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson.
No.
I don't think so either.
He might get 1 or 2. Like
There's a lot of people on Ramondre Stevenson unnecessarily.
I mean, preseason MVP against third stringers. I mean, of course. I like the fact that this could open up to him being, Deion Lewis a little bit. Like, he's not going to get James White's, role. So don't expect him to get 60, 70 plus targets. I mean, maybe it happens. Maybe something happens to White. Expectations to, he should hopefully be a 20 to 30, catch guy. Not great, but you're getting him in the 5th, 6th round. You're not at that point, like you can't expect him to be like the true every down guy.
Right.
But we know he could get work. We know he's going to get the goal line work because obviously Cam Newton's got it. I think Phil Yates made a post about it. I think Cam had 10 or 12 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
And he took I think he said it was between 5 and 7, where Cam Newton's was from the 1 or 2 yard line.
Right.
That should all 95% of that should go to Damian Harris, right? Like it shouldn't be.
I would agree with that. I don't think it's going to be Stevenson. Harris was a high round pick, and people forget how good Damian Harris was just because he went to New England and got buried for a year. Cam Newton's gone. That's a big boost to a lot of things. So other than Mac Jones, other than Damian Harris, Jacoby Myers, anybody in the passing game, but Jacoby Myers specifically, it's a big boost that Cam Newton has gone to this New England offense. And Damian Harris and Mac Jones, if you already had him drafted, congratulations. If not, Mac Jones Superflex, go for it. I mean, look, let me put it this way. Where are you taking Mac Jones in Superflex? Because he's not necessarily a high-end QB2 necessarily.
He'll be in he'll be in that probably 7 to 9 range. That'd be my guess. Where Teddy's being drafted now, where you would take, I don't want to say Goff, but maybe we're he'll be, kind of where Zach Wilson's going to. Like he's starting from week 1. His pass catching targets outside of Myers is pretty weak. Like the whole receiving core is pretty garbage, but he has 2 stud tight ends. He's got an offense that should fit what he does well, and he's highly accurate. He's a very efficient passer. And Like, he's not going to give you rushing upside, which is what we should expect. He should be in that. My guess would be 7 to 9 range. He's a very solid QB3. Or if you wait on quarterback, I think he's a solid QB2 because he's not dumb. He's a very bright.
He's
very
smart, and I think
and
he's going to
he's
and
very
could end
safe
up
with the
being
football.
very efficient. So for him to sneak into QB2, he's not going to have Kirk Cousins volume, but I think
Not
it
yet.
could be Cousins light, if you will.
Yep.
So
Yep. I mean, our comp for him was Cousins. His high-end comp was Cousins.
right, and I agree with that.
Like, he'll be a fringe. He'll be mid to low QB2. Like, you can't expect him. He may have a game or two where he's over 350, and a couple touchdowns, but it just depends what this New England offense looks like. They're going to be missing their best defensive player in Gilmore. He's on IR, so it depends on the defense response. The defense is struggling. A lot of Mac Jones garbage time, a lot of checkdowns, and
And the defense shouldn't
safe throws.
The defense shouldn't be bad, but there's going to be
Shouldn't be. You're right. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of safe throws. He's a floor type quarterback this year.
Yeah.
And you're okay with it. I mean, if you drafted him late, look, you were looking for a floor type quarterback. You obviously weren't going balls in on QB2, so there you go.
And he's great for Superflex because he should give you consistent floor
And
points.
he's great if you needed quarterbacks and drafted him late in the Dynasty League. Other notable releases from the Patriots. Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Just a shame.
Oh, what could have been?
Acting career's over. And a player named D. Virgin.
Diversion?
D. Virgin.
Oh, too bad he won't pop his cherry.
Nick Folk also cut, by the way. So
Yeah.
for those keeping tabs on kickers. Let's see. Jets, not a lot. They cut Kenny Yeboah and Ryan Griffin, actually. So what are they doing at tight end? If they cut Yeboah,
They traded Chris Herndon too
if
to
you
Minnesota.
cut Yeboah and Griffin and traded Chris Herndon, who the fuck do you have left at tight end?
It's isn't it fuck. There's a name there. There's a name.
I'm sure there's a couple names there.
There's a goddamn name.
I'm working on it.
I want to say like Tyler Croft went there.
It's Tyler Croft.
I knew it.
They kept 2 tight ends and only 2 tight ends. It's Tyler Croft and Trayvon Wesco. And that's it.
They got a 4th round. So they traded Chris Herndon to Minnesota for a 4th round pick. They traded Herndon in a 6th round for a 4th round, I think is what it was.
Yeah, and
Because obviously Irv Smith is off for the year.
and Herndon to Minnesota,
so.
by the way. Irv Smith out for the year. Herndon to Minnesota, by the way, just
I'm gonna bet
immediately replaces Irv Smith ADP because I don't know that there's a lot of talent difference there. Was a lot of volume disparity there and a lot of boneheadedness there, but I don't know that there's a huge talent disparity between Irv Smith and Chris Herndon.
Well, possibly. Tyler Conklin was already going to have an increased role. So also athletic. It's also a team favorite. I don't think Herndon's fantasy relevant by any stretch of our imagination, but we'll see. He's gonna, it's gonna probably take him a few weeks to get, back into that offense. He hasn't really been himself since the injuries and the suspension. Like he just never fired. Yeah, Irv Smith likely
You say-
this season.
Yeah, Tyler Croft is mildly athletic. I
No,
guess.
I'm not talking about Tyler Croft. I'm
Or
talking
Tyler
about
Conklin.
Tyler
Sorry.
Conklin.
No, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, 70th percentile spark, but 4.840 and a
That's
93.9
that's fine.
speed score and burst. It's not Chris Herndon athletic, though.
no, and it may end up being a lesser version, which means you don't draft either of them.
No,
Like,
it means I
they're-
draft Chris Herndon, and I hope for the best.
Well, of course you did. Yeah, I know that. And
Which is
you're tight
exactly-
end premiums, 2 tight end leagues that are.
That's exactly what I did, was drafted Chris Herndon in a lot of 2 tight end leagues. So, Kenny Yeboah, by the way, a lot of people were banking on that. He's likely practice squad bound.
That'd be my guess. You had the big hero catch at the end of the Jets Eagles game.
Yep. For the Ravens, not a lot there. Deion Kane, the most notable name cut, former Colts guy.
Deion Kane,
So
Clemson.
Yep, not a lot there. For the Cincinnati Bengals, Stanley Morgan Jr. made the roster.
Hey.
Travion Williams cut.
Yeah.
H-back.
Yep.
Not a lot there. That means
Nope.
Samaje Perine, I think, is good.
And Chris Evans, Michigan guy people liked is a late round guy.
Yeah, so Samaje Perine's good. Let me not let that dream die.
For God's sakes.
Samaje Perine and Chris Evans are the backups to Joe Mixon. And at wide receiver, it's Stanley Morgan Jr. coming in as the fifth receiver.
What you're saying is Joe Mixon to the fucking moon because there ain't nobody taking touches from that backfield from him.
No, there's not.
You say it's healthy. It's all
Joe
him.
Mixon to the moon if he's healthy, and if not,
If he's
then-
fucking healthy, this offensive line can protect him.
and if he's not, then you hope you have one of the wide receivers that
You
isn't
just gonna-
Odd and Tate or Stanley Morgan.
Yeah, oof.
I like one of those too. It's not Odd and Tate, just in case
I
you're
like
wondering.
both of them.
Well, you might. I don't.
I know.
Some former names cut. Trent Taylor gone from that, by the way.
Eh.
Yeah, you know.
Eh.
For the Browns, John Kelly was cut.
No, wait, he's
Just-
still in the league. Good for John Kelly.
Good for John Kelly.
Good for John Kelly.
JoJo Natson cut. JoJo Ward cut. They've got something against JoJo's.
Fucking JoJo's.
Fucking JoJo's. No, not a lot to deduce from the Browns cuts. Trey Edmonds and Jalen Samuels cut from Pittsburgh. That means that Biddy Snell is the backup to Najee Harris.
Wait, who got
And,
cut?
and Anthony McFarland is the other one there. So Jalen Samuels and Trey Edmonds were cut from Pittsburgh.
So did Bellage make the team too?
I believe that means Bellage made the team over Jalen Samuels.
So you mean to tell me Najee Harris's backups is Benny Snell,
Kalen Bellage
Kalen Bellage, and
and
Anthony,
Anthony
McFarland.
McFarland.
You better fucking pray, Pittsburgh fans, that Harris does not get hurt.
That's exactly what it is.
Ooh, boy, the fact that Kalen Bellage might be the
Well, I
might
want
be
to
the
take
best
my victory
backup
lap
there.
on Jalen Samuels for a moment.
We don't need. I mean, fine.
No, I
It's
do.
not much of a victory lap because for
There
God's
are
sakes,
no, there is. People forget very quickly, right? Jalen Samuels is a person a lot of people are, oh, he's gonna take over from James Conner. He's gonna cut into his workload. And he couldn't beat out James Conner, who ended up not being great. And then he gets cut in favor of fucking Caitlin Bellage. So just want to point out,
and Benny Snell.
and Benny Snell.
That's
Just
even worse than Kalen Bellage.
want to point out the talent evaluation on Jalen Samuels when I said that him coming into the league without a position was kind of a dog shit thing, and he wasn't going to amount to much because he was a guy that didn't have a shitload of athleticism and didn't really have a refined position either. Yeah, looks like I was right. Just saying. I'll leave it at that.
Yikes!
Don't worry, there's more.
Oh, I know.
Not much else there unless you care about punters.
Nope.
All right, going to the AFC. Jeff Driscoll cut from the Texans, who saw a couple starts. They really have nobody. Bunch of running backs cut, so none of them being Mark Ingram or David Johnson or Philip Lindsay, so they're full steam
Don't
ahead
care.
with that three-headed puppy dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
They cut wide receivers where you care here. So they cut Alex Erickson and Kiki Kuti and Chris Moore and Isaiah Coulter. So
Isaiah Coulter, they drafted last year in like the third or fourth round.
right.
That's
So
great. Kiki Kuti, the dream is dead. The dream was never really there, but the dream is dead.
The dream wasn't there past year one. So speaking of dreams, you're basically looking at Brandon Cooks and Anthony Miller and nobody.
And Nico Collins.
You're right.
Hey, Michigan likes to waste talent. Nico Collins was a favorite.
They did. Kahale Waring, by the way, also the only person I see on this list twice.
He got cut. I forgot
He
who
was
he
cut
signed with the
from
Colts.
Houston, and then he was cut from. He might be with more than that because I think he was cut from New England too.
He went to the Colts.
No, he was cut from New England, and he was cut from. He might be cut from the Colts as well.
Oh no, Kalali Waring.
He was
We
cut,
liked him so much.
He was cut from the
Aw.
Texans, and then he was cut from the Patriots.
He could never stay healthy in the pros. That's what sucks. He was
Oh,
that,
look,
dude's, a fucking athlete.
he was cut from the Colts too,
Oh, no.
Kalali Waring is on 3 different cut lists.
Excuse me while I go mourn. You know how much we love Kalali Waring? I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was hyper athletic, and he's on 3 different cut lists this offseason.
Dude, that's fucking impressive.
I don't know how you get cut 3 different
That's
times.
his claim to fame on like
But he did
Wikipedia.
it.
I was cut from the same. I was cut from 3 teams within
did
like
it.
3 days.
78th percent. 78th percentile Sparks.
8 different
yeah.
sports in high school. The
Yeah,
dude's
the dude is
just couldn't stay
super
healthy.
athletic, and he's
Yeah.
been cut from 3. He was cut from 3 different. He's on 3 different cut down lists.
It's all right. I mean, we'll never forget. He's our Jeff Janis.
No, we'll
There's
never
a Jeff
forget.
Janis for us.
He'll always
It's
be
Kalali
there.
Waring.
So one of those 3 teams. I don't know.
I mean, the Colts could have used some.
Colts, by the way, sticking with their running back core. I believe that includes Jordan Wilkins too. Still,
Ed Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack, Jordan Wilkins, Nyheim Hines, and Jonathan Taylor. That's a good running back core, by the way.
4 backs. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Thought maybe they keep 3.
Hines, Mack, Wilkins, Taylor. That's a
Probably
hell of
because of Mack.
that's a hell of a running back core. So, really,
Yeah, no, it's good.
that might be one of the deepest running back cores in the league. Nothing else to note there. They didn't really cut anybody other than Kalali Waring.
Motherfuckers.
Jacksonville.
You just made the list.
Divino Ziegbo. Remember when he was supposed to be a thing? He's gone.
Oh,
Philip Dorsett's gone.
First
Josh
round pick.
Imator Beebe and Colin Johnson are gone. Colin Johnson will probably land someplace. Colin Johnson, to me, is like Alan Lazard was a couple years ago, where he might bounce around for a couple teams. He's eventually going to emerge somewhere. So if you're a
Big.
rebuilding dynasty team,
6'5".
yeah, if you're a rebuilding dynasty team with roster spots, Colin Johnson flashed a bit last year. He's 6'5", athletic enough. Just go stash him and see what happens. I mean, there's a lot worse people you could burn a roster spot on, especially out of this draft class. So, Colin Johnson's somebody you just stash. It happened with like I said, with Alan Lazard, where they might bounce them around a little bit before you get any relevance out of them. But Colin Johnson's got that type of a profile.
Throw him on the stash, see what happens.
Yep. Laquan Treadwell, on the other hand, he's had that chance. He also got cut.
He got cut? Oh, man. Former first-round pick for all his games.
Kalali Waring.
Wait.
No, not really.
Again, he's on every single team.
Tim Tebow cut.
Oh, will not be missed.
Des Fitzpatrick, who the Titans traded up for, was cut.
That might be my favorite thing.
Yeah, they traded up for
He
somebody
got
this
shit on
year
so hard too.
that they just cut. So,
Should have 3 picks to move up to.
yep. And then cut him. Brett Rippon cut from the Broncos, so Drew Lock has won that eventual starting job.
The Broncos are 2-5.
Did not cut Royce Freeman, so you still have Royce Freeman.
Yeah, he's gone. Royce went to Carolina.
Oh, did he?
Yep, he got cut.
He's not on their cut list.
Yep, he's with Carolina now.
I don't believe you.
Well, I mean, it's true, but yeah, because we were all talking about. I was pumped to see Royce could finally get freed, hoping he landed in Atlanta. I think I put Philadelphia as maybe a backup because there's no bigger back for Miles Sanders behind him. But yeah, went to Carolina. Now he's buried behind McCaffrey. I mean, Chuba, meh, but
Yeah, he is not on the Broncos cut list on the NFL site.
yeah, Royce got cut the other day.
The disrespect.
The fact that he's not on there. I'm a little salty that he went to Carolina.
Yeah, no,
not with
he's
the team
not
with the
on
backup.
this cut list.
Interesting.
Huh. So the Broncos are then breaking camp with Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, and Mike Boone. And something called the Nate McCrary. Good for them, I guess.
I guess.
Darwin Thompson's gone. Remember when he was supposed to be a thing?
You mean Lord and Savior Darwin Thompson in the 6th round?
Yeah.
The easiest fade almost ever.
You didn't have to
Darwin
fade
Thompson.
him. He
One of
never
the-
should have been. Antonio
One of
Cal-
the easiest. It's him and Riley Ridley were the 2 easiest fades ever.
Yeah, Antonio Callaway. There's a name.
Got talent, just bonehead.
Quarterback Case Cookus.
Case Cookus?
I don't know who that is. It was just a fun name.
Case Cookus.
Trey Ragas, Bo Scarborough, John Brown cut from the Raiders, by the way. If you're looking for a wide receiver.
He asked for his release, too. He
asked for his release and was granted, so we'll see where he signs. Trey Quinn.
He will sign Detroit. Go to fucking Detroit.
John Brown. No, seriously, go to Detroit.
Please.
Take over for Tyrell Williams in that dream.
You'll be alongside Tyrell Williams and then put Amon St. Brown in a big slot.
As he should be.
He should be. Trey Quinn. What could have been? 5-star recruit coming out of high school. A little bit of a bonehead, too.
A little bit of a bonehead?
Little bit of a bonehead. He got into, I think he got into it with the coaches.
Oh.
That's why he left and went to SMU.
Oh, got it. So a little bit of a bonehead, but not at the NFL level. Jason Moore was cut from the Chargers.
Well, I guess he's going back to the Ballers then.
Sad day.
Sorry, Ballers. You get more back.
Michael Badgley cut, by the way, another kicker to be aware of if you're looking. Ben DiNucci has left Graham Barfield in ruins by being cut. Garrett Gilbert also cut, so Cooper Rush is the backup to the ailing Dak Prescott.
Jones said he'll be ready by week 1.
Yeah, and hurt by week 3.
Hey.
I hope not. I'm just saying. By the way, somehow Noah Brown survives another season on the Cowboys
roster. He survived again?
Yes.
I'm going to be right somehow. And by right, I mean by he survived long enough. He's like a fucking cockroach.
He's not been anything, but he won't go away.
Exactly.
For those that don't know, the story
something.
about the show at Noah Brown is basically this. Noah Brown came out in 2017 as a 20-year-old. Noah Brown is somebody where, like, man, he could be super talented, but he should have really stayed in school because he looks decent, but he hasn't developed into anything. And now the Cowboys are just sitting on him for 4 years.
The deepest depth chart in football, and they still keep him. So Noah Brown, sorry, bro, nothing.
Excuse me. Alfred Morris cut from the Giants. Don't care.
Matt Berry's happy.
Jordan Howard, Kerryon Johnson cut from the Eagles.
I love it because I fucking called it. I called one of them. I'm a bit surprised that they're only carrying 3 backs.
Well, and Kenneth Gainwell looks like he's the second back they're carrying. So
yeah, Gainwell, Boston. You have 2 small backs and then Miles Sanders. So.
Yep. So
I'm thinking somebody's gonna end up there as some like bigger, fat fuck.
It's great news for Kenneth Gainwell for you though.
The dream is it's a shame he was a day 3.
Somebody other than Miles Sanders will have value there, by the way, and it's going to be something to watch under waiver wire. So if you're looking,
I'll be interested to see because I think right now it's going to be Boston Scott. I think he's gotten the most buzz between him and Gainwell. But Gainwell has buzz during the game, like he's been.
Yeah. So if you're looking for
a very good preseason,
late round draft pick, Scott or Gainwell, not the worst thing you can do, because somebody else is going to have value in Philly. It's not just going to be
Miles Sanders. I guess
Sanders.
I heard in a podcast that Miles. It was on the Road on the World podcast. Mike Kelly, JJ Zachariason. I think JJ said that that Miles Sanders has become the laughing stock. He's become the punchline for dropping passes. That's not good for running backs.
No,
to be a punchline when it comes to dropping passes. So I think, and we talked about Gainwell's role this season is through Miles Sanders' struggles as a receiving back, and between him and Boston Scott, you may be able to find some production. Not a lot, maybe, but production. So
yeah, and like I said, there's going to be somebody there that's talked about as a waiver wire claim within the first couple weeks. So take your dart throw. You want guys you need one thing to go right for. The one thing to go right for them is that they're crowned the pass catching back, basically.
Imagine if Miles Sanders gets hurt.
Yep. Travis Fulgham cut, by the way. So that means it's going to be Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, and then whatever comes out of Quez Watkins, Greg Ward, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
You should have traded Travis Fulgham last year when the entire world was telling you to move him.
Right. Because he was never going to be it. He wasn't.
And there was nobody healthy in that receiving core.
Right.
In that great 4-game stretch. Then when people started to get healthy, fucking nothing.
The other thing this means is that Devonta Smith has already dealt with the injuries this year. Jalen Reagor is a late round grab. Is something you want to pay attention to.
Jalen Hurts is not a bad quarterback, guys. Like,
no, he's not.
I don't think Philly's going to be a good team. Bad defense, especially bad secondary. Reagor, like you're talking about garbage time. Garbage time still counts the same. So,
yeah. All right, it does. Ask Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson.
that's right.
Washington football team, Steven Montez. By the way, Washington football team still not going to have a name this year. They're going to be the football team again.
Oh, I hope they never change it.
I hope it just stays there.
Just fucking roll with it, guys.
Right.
Great.
They're supposed to have a new name by this year, I thought. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Peyton Barber, Lamar Miller, Jonathan Williams, all cut. Which means Gibson and J.D. McKissick again.
Gibson, McKissick, and Jarrett Patterson. Somewhere Matt Hicks is super pumped.
Somewhere Matt Hicks is going to be super disappointed when Jarrett Patterson doesn't really have a role.
Hey, he's one injury away, bro. That's what it is.
From being something.
One injury away.
One injury away from them signing somebody else. Can't wait for that to not pan out. I love Matt Hicks. I love to give Matt Hicks shit, though.
I don't hate Jared Patterson. He's not a pass catcher, but something were to happen to Gibson.
I'm pretty sure I had some not flattering things to say about
No, you did not like him. I'm not a big fan of him either as a fantasy asset. But
actually, yeah.
In a pinch, he might get you some carries.
Pretty sure I had some very not flattering things to say about Jared Patterson.
You said he was the Devin Singletary of this class. Somewhere along those lines.
Right. Got it.
Which we're right. I think we're right more often on players not panning out. We're like the fucking death wish.
I'm okay with that.
For some of these players. We don't like a player, maybe then that just might be it for them.
I'm okay with that, though.
That's fine.
Well, I'm waiting for
Right.
this thing to pick up.
No.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. This is a guy that I said had enough speed to run through holes that looked like they were opened by Moses, but couldn't create shit for himself. This year's Kalen Bellage.
No, I mean, he's not that athletic. At least Bellage's got side speed.
If this
Somewhere
were
in a
porn,
box
not
rocks.
football, he'd be fired for hitting the wrong hole too often.
It might be the greatest insult for scouting report.
No ability in the pass catching game.
0 receptions last year. And targets.
Yeah. Not even the best running back on his team.
No, he was better than fucking Marks. No way. Better than Marks.
Willing blocker, squares up pass rushers, but bull rushing him back seems to be no issue at all. So basically, he can run through holes if Moses opens them. He misses more holes than a porn star. And this year's Kalen Bellage is what I had to say about Jarrett Patterson. So, J.D. McKissick, late round pick.
McKissick
had a lot of value last year, too. That's something a lot of people didn't
Gibson
understand.
has taken a lot of the major roles that we like from McKissick. Gibson is taking the 2-minute drills. Washington, I mean, great defense. I don't know how much they're going to be playing from behind, but
I don't know how much they will either. Just McKissick was a top 24 running back last year, so when you're looking late rounds, he's almost free.
He might give you some floor. I don't expect last year's numbers, but
No, but he is almost free, so
exactly.
that's the big takeaway. Also,
I've been picking him up everywhere.
Gandy Golden and Kelvin Harmon and Steven Sims Jr. cut. So
Dude, Matt Hicks has got very mixed feelings right now. His boy Jared Patterson's kept, but his love of his life, Calvin Harmon.
yeah, so you're basically going to be De'Ami Brown, who has a chance to break out. Not quite as good of a chance as what like a St. Brown does, but he has a chance to flash a bit. Adam Humphries, Curtis Samuel. So
At least Brown's starting.
what's that?
Said at least Brown's starting.
He's not on the depth chart as a starter. It's Curtis Samuel, Adam Humphries, Terry McLaurin.
Humphries is there?
Yeah.
Good for Humphreys.
So
Sam, I got to get off that list. You got to get back from
I
injury.
think Brown probably will be starting at some point because I don't expect Samuel or Humphreys to be healthy all season. But
He's got the right quarterback, for his skill set.
It's
though.
not a
The
team
fucking hug it
that's-
and chug it football.
it's also not a team that's going to have to pass a lot, I don't think, with how
still
good the defense is. So and Fitzpatrick will, but I think it's
Plays
Terry
hero ball better
McLaurin,
than
Logan
most.
Thomas, and then Gibson/McKissick in the pecking order. So, there's a long path to target for wide receivers not named
I'm not
McLaurin
saying
here.
Brown's going to get heavy volume, but Brown is a deep threat. Like he is.
No,
he is what
is.
Deshaun Jackson was for Fitz in Tampa.
And what we watch in some of these guys is waiver wire picks. Like, we're not going to completely shaft the waiver
exactly.
wire this year. We're just not going to force ourselves to talk about it. But there's somebody
You're
obvious
not going to get a bunch of names. You're going to get some players every now and then.
that are obvious.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we are not going to gloss over if Damian Brown has a good week. The Bears, by the way, they are staying. They're very weak at wide receiver. They signed Perriman, for the love of God. They've cut Daz Newsome, Riley Ridley, Javon Wims. So the fantasy community is in mourning over Ridley and Newsome, I'm pretty sure.
Well, Newsome tore his ACL, right? He's done. He's been done for the year, isn't he?
He was
I
cut.
thought Daz.
I don't know what
I know,
he did, but he's cut.
I thought Daz got hurt. I
Yeah.
thought Daz tore his ACL really late or really early on in training camp, or this.
I don't think it
offseason,
was
so-
early on, no.
I thought he tore his. Either way, Daz wasn't much for anything, anyways. Like he was just a guy.
Marquise Goodwin made this team.
They signed Brashad Perriman.
Demir
That's
Bird.
so bad.
Well, here's the other problem, right? Allen Robinson and deep threats. That's the problem I have with this. It's Allen Robinson and then Demir Bird, Darnell Mooney, Marquise Goodwin, and now you signed Brashad Perriman. It's Allen Robinson and deep threats. That does not work out well.
At least they'll have better quarterback play. I'll be interested to see how the when Justin Fields actually takes the field, goes through a couple games with this receiving core. I mean, it's good. It's not good by all means. We know that, but
Dave Montgomery, by the way, I mentioned Tariq Cohen on
Publis out for six.
Yeah, he's on the pup list. I mentioned Tariq Cohen on Shane's podcast. Not a play anymore. It's going to be all Dave Montgomery. Damian Harris and Khalil Herbert are not a threat. So that running game is going to be all Dave Montgomery and then a lot of Justin Fields when he eventually starts. So Tariq Cohen, pup list to start the season.
Montgomery, early favorite to be one of the best running backs for fantasy early on.
Yep.
Volume alone should give him a really nice floor, even against like the Rams in week 1.
Yep. Lions cut Perriman, Chad Hansen, Victor Bolden, Geronimo Allison, a bunch of wide receivers. So, yeah, I mean.
Geronimo, no!
It's St. Brown, Tyrell Williams, or TJ Hawkinson in the wide
Swift.
receiver game there.
So it's Swift, Hawkinson, and then
One of the wide
these
receivers. Right.
One of these.
They also
Are we
cut.
going to have to battle against? It's going to be St. Brown versus Williams. It's going to be gross.
I hope so. They also cut both of their kickers, by the way.
I know, which is
So they don't
a
have
little
a kicker.
fantasy move.
Do not have a kicker at the moment.
That's fair. They're going to be. They're not scoring enough points anyway. So
Packers cut a couple backup quarterbacks. Devin Funchess, Equanimous St. Brown is gone.
oh no.
So
ESB,
it's going to be Cobb, Alan Lazard, and
MVS.
Valdez Scantling. Still there. Yes.
Yes. Some of these guys are going to Detroit, and then all of a sudden, this receiving room is
Someone's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Chad
Oh,
Beebe
let's hope so.
cut. Chad Beebe and Ito Smith and Amir Abdullah all cut by the Vikings.
We had Ito Smith.
You had Ito Smith.
Wait, we cut Amir Abdullah?
Yeah, you cut Amir Abdullah.
Oh. I should probably look at those as my,
It's your team.
my own team. My
So
own
who's your
team.
third string running
The
back?
fact that we had Ito Smith for like a week then, because he just, he wasn't cut long ago from Atlanta. I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Queenie, Kinney, I'm gonna screw this up, but I don't want to do it any.
The guy from Iowa State.
Yeah, the hyper athletic guy from Iowa State made the team as a third back,
Yeah, it's gonna be him,
and he is stupid
and Amir
athletic.
Smith-Marset are gonna be your new special teams guys, which is why we've been
Right,
talking about him.
he is
They're gonna-
super athletic. So
Yes.
I mean, easy replacement for Amir Abdullah. You take the guy who hasn't done anything in the league, you replace him with an equally athletic guy who hasn't had a chance yet. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 6 foot 210.
And stupid athletic.
We're in a 4-3-7 and lots of special teams.
Yeah.
This guy's gonna make the team because of that. If anything were to happen to Cook,
He is a name.
name the no.
Named no. I mean, obviously, everybody assumes Madison, premium handcuff. Don't sleep on the hyper athletic rookie at Iowa.
Yeah. Well, you
You know,
know me. Never been a Madison fan to begin with, so
Yeah, I know. He's been good when he's been given the chance, but
yeah, he's good and he's good when he hasn't actually started a game without Cook in it, which is odd, but
Falcons, they cut Deonta Foreman, Javan Hawkins, Caleb Huntley, Quadri Olison. So,
and they signed Wayne Gallman.
which Wayne
The Twitter
Gallman,
world's been a buzz between Wayne Gallman and Mike Davis. Like, for fuck's sake, give us football.
well, here's the thing. Wayne Gallman, here's the hard part. Wayne Gallman couldn't survive in San Francisco where every back finds a job. I thought for
Wayne
sure
Gallman-
Wayne Gallman was going to be a steal in San Francisco.
San Francisco's depth chart. I mean, for what it is, Gallman, he was effective in a horrible Giants offense last year. Oddly enough, he ranked 6th in run blocking efficiency. For him. So speak to what he was as an efficient runner that can probably be contributed to it. Both Mike Davis and Wayne Gallman they're fucking Jags. Mike Davis will be the starter.
Mike Davis,
If Mike Davis struggles, you'll see Wayne Gallman.
because it's not going to be Cordero Patterson or Quadri Olison.
Fuck no. Quadri Olson's gone anyways. It's just I think it's just the 3
He's
backs.
showing on their depth chart as of 11/11
Yeah, Quadri
this
Olson
morning.
was cut today, and
Was
they
he?
signed Wayne Gallman. Yep.
So
So it's Mike Davis, Wayne Gallman, and Cordell Patterson. That's it,
okay.
at least for now.
Wayne Gallman's the backup out of
Yep.
that group. I mean,
Yep.
look, he is the best. He might be better than Mike Davis too. He might end up being a starter.
He might be a better peer runner. Davis has a better overall skill set, but either way, Davis is the starter. He'll
Yeah.
start the season as such.
But if you're looking for late round dart throws that are one injury away or one ineffective performance away, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Wayne Gallman. Is not a bad late round pick.
oh my God, remember? Good for Wayne Gallman for not
Being a bad late round pick.
being a guy still.
Yeah,
Good for him. We didn't like him coming out of Clemson in 17. So
we did not. Carolina Panthers, not a lot there to talk about. Yep, not a lot with Panthers. Saints, they got Trevor Siemian, so you're locked in it. You're locked in at quarterback. They've cut a bunch of wide receivers, but you already know what you got there. So not a lot for the Saints. Not a lot of surprises for the Bucs either. Actually, none. Cardinals also cut Ito Smith. By the way, I don't think the Falcons actually cut Ito Smith. I think it was the Cardinals and the. Yeah,
Ito Smith was drafted by the Falcons. They cut him this year.
He's not on their cut list. I don't know when he was cut by the Falcons. It might have been earlier
It
in
must
the
have been
offseason
late. It
before
must have been
training
early on in
camp.
the offseason then.
It might have been before training camp, but
It was probably before training camp.
It was April that Ito Smith was cut.
Yeah, so it's cut early.
So he ended up actually, it appears with, if you're keeping track on Ito Smith, he was cut from the Falcons way before training camp because these are camp cut downs, not April cut downs. He apparently ended up with the Cardinals for a little bit and then was cut from there. Keyshawn Johnson also gone, and by the way,
Meh.
from them.
He was supposed to be a thing for like a week.
He was. Duck Hodges cut for the Rams.
But Duck Hodges was with the Rams.
Yeah. Xavier Jones cut from the Rams.
Practice squad.
He will
He's
be.
hurt too. He's hurt too.
But so Sonny Michel, Jake Funk, and Darrell Henderson.
Sonny Michel
Sonny Michel.
all day. That value.
Yeah, the Sonny Michel trade to
Jesus
the Rams
Christ.
is just
The fact that
incredible
Hopper is
value.
on Sonny Michel now just speaks to how we view about ADP and players.
that's what you got to know about ADP and players and opportunity, right? It's it. Sonny Michel was not my favorite back out of the two Georgia backs. So far, it looks like I was right about that
I
distinction.
mean, right choice for all of us, yeah.
That was a big distinction, though, that year was, is it Nick Chubb or is it Sonny Michel? Who's the better back? I was on Chubb.
All three of us were on Chubb. I was higher on Michelle, but I was always higher than we
Yeah.
were always highest on Chubb.
So Michel had the first season that looked decent and then kind of fell off the radar due to ongoing knee injuries. He's going to get a shot with the Rams, and I think he is a more talented back than Darrell Henderson. So
He was very efficient pre-injury.
right. And that was the problem in New England, right? Once you brought in Cam Newton, no back was going to get a real shot. That was the knock on Damian Harris, too. So getting him out of New England and getting Cam out of New England really made Michel and Harris both picks that are should be valued in that 5th, 6th round area.
Michelle was just miscasted too. He should never been a first round pick, and B, he should have never been a pick that was utilized as a workhorse. Michelle was better. He's like the new Lamar
He's
Miller, right?
Better
He's
in a 1A, 1B like he is
he's
with
better with
like
he
he's
has a
going to be with
touchdown,
Henderson.
and that's fine. Like we don't.
That's better for
like-
both of them. You take the one that's cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, they're both Darrell Henderson and Sonny Michel are better with are going to be on these touch counts and better with touch counts. So I agree.
And they are. Yeah, they're got to be on these touchdowns. They're going to be better with touch counts, and you just take whichever one's at a lower ADP. I'm not taking any of them before the 5th round, and I'm not taking. I'm taking
I'm
Michel.
not taking either of them with the maybe before the 8th round. Like I want double digits at
What
least.
is their ADP right now?
Michelle, I think, is still 10.
Neither. Of them
I
are
want to
double
say
digits,
Henderson
I'm
has probably
pretty
moved
sure.
back to 7th, even though he's
Well,
still being
neither of
taken.
them are double digits. So let's.
Oh, they're not.
Let's play this.
Gross. Hold on.
I don't think either of them are going to be double digits.
Well, I mean, we got less than the week until. I mean,
So
the
Damian,
week starts
first
in the
off, let's
week.
start with Damian Harris right there out there. He's going at the 505. Is that fair or is that not fair?
It's a little high, but it's not. It's not egregious. It's just
Okay.
Not,
Here's who's
it's
going.
not a value. He's not valued.
Okay, here's who's going ahead of Damian Harris: Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert.
I mean, all those guys. I mean, I'm just avoiding that whole tier of players. I
Would you rather have Mostert than those three?
would rather not take a running back in that range. I would
Mike
rather-
Davis at the 408. How high do you have to go before you're willing to take a running back? Miles Gaskin, Darrell
I like Miles
Henderson.
Gaskin 410. I like Chase at
Miles
601.
Gaskin 404.
I like Chase at 601.
Darrell Henderson 402.
No, obviously no. It's fucking way too high. Miles Sanders 402.
Chase
I'm looking
Edmonds at
at PPR.
604. I love that.
Yeah, I love Chase Edmonds in the 6th round. Like I will take a receiver in the 5th round, which you're likely going to look at
Here, let me go half
at
PPR.
T Higgins or not Cortland because I think it's around too high. Based
Yeah,
on his ADP.
Damian Harris, same thing, 505. Darrell Henderson is still going above that. He's at the 401.
Damian Harris is still. I mean, it's where he should go. Don't let Darrell Henderson being vastly overdrafted fool you to thinking that that's a value for Damian Harris. That's probably the highest you should go. I mean, we love Harris, we do. We don't know what his pass catching floor is. Like we don't know, and we need to see some of that for me to feel more excited for it. But 5th round, Damian Harris is probably the highest I'll go. I won't go higher than I won't go higher. Like a 505 feels like
Sonny Michel is
a
still
good
double
spell.
digits. He's at 1003. I'll
That's
take
a
that.
great spot.
I'll take that all day.
I have 807 in full point leagues.
I've got
Which
1003
is
and
probably
half point per fantasy football calculator.
So between 8th and 10th round is probably the highest you should go for Michelle.
And he's around Jamal Williams, David Johnson, Kenyon Drake, Tony Pollard, Phillip Lindsay, Alex Madison. I would take him with Drake at the top of this tier.
He's the one that you want to target if you're going running back in that area.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yep. 49ers. They cut Gallman. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Tight end Jordan Matthews cut.
Tight end Jordan Matthews. I mean, in that crowded room with tight ends in San Francisco, yeah. Not shocked.
Seahawks. I want to talk about this for a second.
Okay.
So, I found the tweet because I screenshot things these days.
Look at you doing things.
Well, I do, so I can reference them when I want to talk about them because I see things and I know I'm going to want to talk about them. The Mets had somebody get a DUI too after all their bullshit. At Adam Koffler on Twitter, and I'm calling him out because he's a blue check mark.
Okay.
The Seahawks kept 5 running backs. I don't like that if I'm a Chris Carson fantasy manager, and I call bullshit. And here's why I call bullshit on that, Adam.
Okay.
Basically, they kept Alex Collins as the extra running back over what they had last year. Because Rashad Penny is not a model for health. Not that Chris Carson doesn't get banged up and miss a game or two either. But Rashad Penny is not a model for health. Carlos Hyde was on this team last year, along with DJ Dallas and Travis Homer. Chris Carson easily led this team as a very fantasy relevant running back.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, not at all.
Okay. You replace Carlos Hyde with an often injured Rashad Penny and a sometimes injured, sometimes ineffective Alex Collins. And you're looking at that as a threat to Chris Carson instead of just insurance for whoever's going to be the change of pace back because they ended up with like 0 running backs last year. I am not concerned by the fact that Seattle kept 5 running backs. They're a team that runs a shitload. That does not say anything about Chris Carson to me. That says to me that they are more concerned about the depth behind Chris Carson, given Rashad Penny's inability to stay healthy, and Alex Collins' inability to stay healthy and stick with a team, and the ineffectiveness of Travis Homer and DJ Dallas last year.
That's a very
when they were called
Seattle
into
thing
duty.
to do, right?
It is.
Like, yeah, we're going to keep 5 backs because we don't have a depth chart that has shown much health. Like we talked about Carson, he's missed time. Obviously, Penny's been banged up.
And
that's kind of all you have. Like, Collins has been a drifter for his entire career.
The bet here is not on Chris Carson not being healthy or effective. The bet here is that only one of Rashad Penny and Alex Collins is going to be healthy. This says more about how they feel about their depth than it does how they feel about their starter.
Yeah.
So for you at Adam Koffler, whoever the fuck you are,
I'm going to look.
I don't know who he is. That's not the Mike Clay thing again. I can tell you that.
Fantasy Pros. So not a great start.
Great. Don't give a shit. You're way off base. And that's the type of clickbait bullshit that fantasy Twitter has turned into.
Yeah, it's been rough.
In my opinion.
I'm looking at his page.
Yeah. To say that they kept 5 running backs, I'm scared for Chris Carson. Why? What has Chris Carson done over the last 3 years to make you scared for Chris Carson? Produced? Because that's all he's done, right?
I don't want running backs that produce, Hopper. I want running backs in ambiguous backfields.
Yeah, okay. All Chris Carson has done is produce on a team that is largely run first. So for you to think that then keeping 5 running backs says something about Chris Carson and not the depth behind Chris Carson, which has not been there when he is inevitably banged up for a game or two at the worst possible time. I mean, right?
Yeah. They were trotting out Travis Homer and DJ Dallas
at the end of the year last year because Carson was banged up.
Exactly.
But it's not like Carson is getting banged up and missing the entire season. He's getting banged up and missing a game or two.
Yeah, he has.
And when he's healthy, he's a running back one. So
since the 2017, like when he was a rookie, when he was taking over that backfield pre-injury.
right. So, Penny and Collins does not say anything about Chris Carson. It says whichever one's healthy, and if it's Rashad Penny, I am betting on 150 to 175 touches for him, given how much they run the football. But
It's a lot of touches. It's not that much.
no, it's not, because they run the football 450 times. Or they go to the running backs 450 times. So, really not that much. Actually, let me look that up from last year. Why not, right? That's what we do. We look things up on the show. We talk, we come up to something, and then we're going to verify it. So, how many times?
That's what we do here, guys.
How many times did the Seahawks run the football last year? Because
running backs. How much did the running backs run last year?
Because I know
We got to specify.
traditionally the Seahawks are near the top of the league in rushes.
Let's see here.
Let's see. Rushing and receiving. Rushing attempts. Chris Carson ran 141 times over 12 games. Hyde had 81, so that's 220.
Yeah, that's not 415.
No, it has been in previous years. But they weren't good last year either. So 220, 250,
They were 12-4 last year.
Okay.
They were good last year.
Still 300 rush attempts, basically.
Either way, this is Chris Carson's backfield.
They ran 411 times in total. Part of that was Russ, but 411 versus 563.
David Moore at 60. That's yards. I'm sorry. It's because Wilson also had 83
It was
rushes.
481 to 517 the year before.
Russell Wilson was second on the team in rushing.
It was 534 to 427 the year before. This is a team that is going to run the football 400 plus times, including Russell. But it's a team that's going to run the football 400 plus
It's
times.
a team that's going to run about 350 with the running backs.
Yeah.
We don't need to bake in Russell Wilson's rushing numbers to the running backs. So either way, you can tell we've been drinking a little bit because we got onto a Seattle running back tangent. We
no,
can't forget to tell the people about our booze.
We should do that because I'm almost out of booze.
I'm pretty fucking drunk. We should probably do that.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think you're JJ Newcomb?
So nose, very cherry, almost medicinal.
It is a single malt, by the way.
It is single malt. I do get the smokiness too. It's almost because it's not a Scotch, correct? It's just a single malt whiskey.
No, you can't be a Scotch because it's not from Scotland, so it's an American single malt.
But I do get the smokiness, which must be from the barrel. Like it's pretty heavy, both in smell and taste. I will do a little quick taste for you guys. So it's subtle, not a lot of burn to it. Get a lot of the char and wood smokiness from it on the mouth and back of the tongue. The cherry and the other fruit esters are pretty much dominant throughout, especially on the nose. Lingering taste is that of a cherry, a little bit of vanilla. So overall, I'm a bit sad that I didn't dive into this sooner. This is a very interesting and enjoyable. I'm not much for peat. I'm not much for smokiness, but it's been very enjoyable as a sipper throughout this episode.
All right, and before we get into the news and where some of these players went, is this episode drags it long?
We got fucking more? Come
Yeah,
on.
there's more. We're going to go into the news a little bit. I want to see if there's anybody that landed somewhere.
Yeah, that's fair.
Modern Mosa. So from Modern Brewery, it's a Mimosa style sour. Orange is definitely there on the nose. It has a nice kind of orange juicy color to it as well. From a Mimosa standpoint, it's very acidic, which makes it a little hard to drink. It is a sour with orange in it, so that's not unexpected. I don't like super acidic beers. I just poured it down the front of me, by the way. A little bit dry on the back end. They did a pretty good job of capturing the mimosa style. I just wish that the sour side of it had stood on its own a little bit with the acidity of the orange juice. Then, the added lactic acid, because it is a little bit on the sour side for me. Other than that, it's very close, very good. Just acidity fucks with me as I get older.
Makes sense.
All right, let's get into some news and call it a day. So the Bears signed Brashad Perriman. He'll compete, I guess, with Marquise Goodwin for the third spot. Not something you want.
Yeah, right.
Already talked about Gallman. He's with the Falcons. He's easily going to go with Mike Davis, basically.
We're going to be talking about this backfield.
Well, we talked about this backfield the first 4 weeks.
I mean, it's going to be talked about probably all year round, especially if Davis starts to struggle, which wouldn't be shocking, just the fact that both of these guys aren't much for running backs.
Royce Freeman maybe over Chuba Hubbard in Carolina, so that kind of becomes a premium tier handcuff situation.
I mean, it's kind of like,
by the way,
Mike Davis. He's the Mike Davis replacement, right? He's
mentioned,
a big back with the pass catching upside.
Yeah, a lot mentioned about handcuffs the last couple weeks. I will just say this: our stance is this: handcuffs when you're chasing championships. You start worrying about handcuffs week 7, week 8, basically. If you feel like you're in contention, draft time, you're drafting for production, basically.
As the season wears on in redraft leagues, you want to start looking at your own handcuffs and the ones that you fear most, the teams that you fear most in their handcuffs.
And then get them on your roster, because then you at least have trade chips if something goes wrong for somebody.
Well, if not that, then at least you're blocking your opponent's
But you want
team.
people that could be potential starters, or one thing away, one thing going right, one thing going wrong away from being a starter. And then, which you could argue that handcuffs are, but you're waiting on a very specific injury for that to happen. So don't do that, basically. Don't draft your own handcuffs early. Draft somebody that you think could have pass catching upside, like a Gio Bernard or J.D. McKissick.
Yeah,
and
you don't
then
draft. You should never draft half-comes. I mean,
and then it may or may not pan out, but you start there, and if it doesn't, you churn for pieces throughout the year, and then you look about 6-7 games into getting handcuffs.
Yeah.
Premium tier handcuffs is not a draft strategy we normally lean on initially.
It's a lot of value loss.
Not cut, by the way. Want to talk about some people that were not cut, specifically Latavius Murray, who is rumored to be a cut all year, and now is not. He is a back that has some standalone value in New Orleans.
Yeah, whoever the main backup is to Kamara.
Always has standalone value. And it is Latavius Murray. I never bought into this. Anyone that's listened throughout the offseason knows this. I never bought into the idea that Murray was going to be cut, and he wasn't.
I mean, I don't really care either way. I mean, I'll read the news. I'll pick up a guy, drop a guy.
Yeah. Let's see. ETN underwent Liz Frank surgery. Taylor Austin on IR. Galladay. Let's see. Kenny Galladay believes the Giants' offense could start slow after dealing with so many injuries during training camp.
The easiest fade of all redraft.
Is it, or is it Brandon
it's
Ayuk
Galladay.
who's already on the sideline with a hamstring injury?
No. Ayuk was always a risk with as high as he's been.
But he's always been a risk with as high as he's been, and he's absolutely not going to pay off
Galladay
that
is
value.
still at far. I would much rather have a 49ers wide receiver than a Giants.
Yeah, I would too. It's Deebo Samuel.
Either way, Galladay was the easiest fade.
Because I don't believe in Brandon Ayuk. And Brandon
Galladay was going higher than Ayuk in drafts.
Yeah.
That's why he's the easiest
And
fade.
I don't want either of them, first off.
The correct answer is just avoid both.
Yeah, the correct answer is avoid both. But Ayuk, I think if you draft him high, you're going to be pretty disappointed in that. Tag freezing cold takes in that one. I don't care. You won't because nobody's listening.
Skip listen.
Skip
Shout out
and-
to Skip.
Skip and Bam all listen.
Our boy Skip and Darren. We have listeners. Not a lot, but they're there. It's we're fucking drunk and stumbling through the rest of this.
Jamison Crowder's already day to
am.
day. Bucks signed Darwin Thompson to the practice squad. Vikings signed Jordan Berry,
Who the fuck is Jordan Berry?
former Steelers punter.
No.
Wentz may be ready for week 1.
Wentz
So-
will play week 1.
We'll keep
No
an eye on
fucking
that.
way
I think
Wentz won't.
he
Wentz is
will.
playing week 1. Giovinard is mild high ankle sprain ahead of week 1.
Already?
Yep.
That's good.
Not a good start for the pass catching back there.
No, not at all.
Not a fun injury to deal with.
CD Lamb activated from reserve COVID. Curtis Samuel should play week 1. Buccaneers are 100% vaccinated.
So championship teams say champions.
It is indeed.
Good for them. Good for them.
Buccaneers activated Ryan Suckup from the reserve COVID-19 list.
Corey Clement goes to the Cowboys.
Okay.
Nah, don't cares. Ravens have no receivers, by the way.
Sammy Watkins returned to
Bateman
practice.
and Miles Boykin on IR. So Watkins and Tylen Wallace.
Watkins, you know what? Well, I'll say this. The wide receiver 1 on any fantasy team is not a bad late round pick. Watkins is not a Corey Davis level pick where there should be a ton of volume. Watkins is still an okay late round pick. I hate saying this.
Mark
My God,
Andrews.
it's like the year that I hype everybody up that I don't want to hype up. And Mark Andrews is already going to be a good tight end. Sammy Watkins is a late round pick as a wide receiver 1 on the Ravens. Again, a wide receiver 1 is never a bad late round pick. I'll just say that.
Just imagine the fact that the entire Ravens receiving core is banged up and it's not Sammy Watkins.
Right.
Ironic. Isn't it ironic?
I mean, for now.
For now.
Everson Griffin was cut and then re-signed.
That's a very Vikings move.
Hey, John Ross to injured reserve for the Giants.
Things we're not shocked by.
Things we
Jets
always said
signed-
were going to happen.
Jets signed Ryan Griffin.
Yeah. Well, after he was cut, right?
Yeah. Nikhil Harry, IR. Here's
Oh.
one for us. Here's one. First off, Anthony McFarland, IR. So he won't be there for the first 3 weeks.
At least.
T.Y. Hilton, IR. First 3 weeks.
So Colts wide
That
receivers
one's
are not
big.
something we've talked a lot about either. It's
Nope.
got to be Michael Pittman at that point, right? Like, the Colts are going to have somebody catch footballs.
And they also have a very, very soft schedule to start. I'm going to pull it up.
You think they're just going to run it down everybody's throat? Or, I mean, there's got to be somebody there catching footballs.
So you have Pittman, obviously Paris Campbell.
You're
Here's-
going with unproven.
Here's your first 3 games. Seattle,
Okay.
LA at home. Both games at home. Seattle and the Rams.
Rams will be a little tough. Rams have a
Seattle
good defense.
Rams week 3 against the Titans. Both Pittman and Paris Campbell are both underproven. They both haven't shit. They've both been banged up.
No.
their whole
So,
career.
if you're looking for dart throws late in your draft, which is what we're trying to give you this week, especially
Both of
early
them.
on,
But
the
Pittman.
Rams game could be rough, but 2 out of those first 3 could be really, really good. Look at Jack Doyle.
I mean, Rams offense is good enough to push this game into a shootout.
Well, it is.
Naeem Hines could be an actual
Naeem Hines is going to be a
rich
back that
value
we're
for
talking
your
about.
Devonte Williams shares
It's
and for your Trey
going to
Sherman
be
shares.
Colts pass catchers that nobody's dialed in on because nobody knows what to think. But Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, Jack Doyle,
Yeah.
Naeem
love Doyle,
Hines. Get yourself
Hines,
late in your draft. Get yourself a Colt in one of those positions. Because you're
Jonathan
right.
Taylor, obviously,
The
is
Rams
fine.
can push it into a shootout. The Rams have a tough
Yeah.
defense, though. But
They
the other
do.
2 games, soft defenses.
But tough defense means you're not throwing deep, which means you're checking down. So
Which means
Taylor and
Naeem
Hines
Hines-
in those games could be great in those games.
Right. So, Naeem Hines especially, because he's going to be the pass catching back anyway. Naeem Hines in full PPR leagues is somebody you want on your roster. He's going to get targets. But if you're looking late round wide receiver, and again, there's a lot of value at wide receiver this year. A lot of value at wide receiver this year. There is no reason to take a wide receiver for the 4th round, in my opinion. But if you're looking late round value, because you waited on wide receiver, Michael Pittman's where I'm leaning. I know you like Campbell too, but Pittman.
I like both.
I do too.
I think both. Like you, like you're
like-
betting on Pittman because he's the
I like
number
Pittman
one.
a little more.
But I mean, I like Pittman more because he should get the volume. Like he's the number one receiver. Like he should get the alpha role. But Paris Campbell, let's not forget how hyper athletic he is.
Right.
Better quarterback situation. Both receivers are virtually free. By free, I mean, they're both double digit round ADPs.
Kiki Kuti went to the Colts practice squad.
Yeah.
Cowboys claimed Will Greer.
Hey, we liked him more than Daniel Jones.
Lions have their kicker and Austin Siebert, who former Browns kicker, claimed
Browns
off
kicker,
waivers
right?
from the Bengals. Yeah.
Yep.
Kadero Hodge was claimed by the Lions off waivers, so looking at their wide receiver depth. Giants claimed Colin Johnson.
Open receiving room.
It is
Darius Slayton's hurt. Kenny Galladay's hurt. Right
generally
now it's
an
just
open
Sterling
receiving
Shepard.
room. Again, late round wide receiver. Something we're preaching a lot this year. Late round wide receiver. There are dart throws to be had. Take your first 2 or 3. Take some dart throws on 4 and 5.
See what happens.
Yep. Saints are playing in Jacksonville for their home opener.
Yep.
Irv Smith, the meniscus surgery. We knew about that. Jalen Richard on injured reserve.
So doesn't mean that Josh Jacobs is
It's a
going to get fucking.
little bit of a boost to Kendon Drake.
Yeah.
Amir Smith-Marset, punt and kick returner. Tyree Jackson made the Eagles
that?
roster as a tight end. The Knicks, Trey Burton.
He's also hurt too. I believe he got hurt in Philly.
Just said he made the roster.
But he made the. I'm sorry. I thought he said he got cut, brought somewhere else.
No. He made the roster.
That's good.
I said
Jackson is what we. Yeah.
I said next Trey Burton because he's was on.
No, next Logan Thomas, ex quarterback, the tight end.
Yeah, so it was
Next
Trey
Logan
Burton.
Thomas. Was he a quarterback?
Yeah, Trey Burton was a quarterback in college.
Good for him.
That's why he ran the Philly special.
Makes sense.
But Logan Thomas too, right? Tyree Jackson was a awkward throwing, hyper athletic, big quarterback that transitioned to tight end. I mean, he's a profile that people have had success with. So the fact that he made the team, it's not going to be this year. Again, dynasty. Why not stash him? Worst case
If you're
scenario.
going to find your next Darren Waller, it's guys like Tyree
Right.
Jackson.
Why not stash him? Worst case scenario is that you cut him at draft time next year. You know?
Here's the name. Here's the name for you. Justin Watson, reserve publicist.
Yep, saw that. Keith Kirkwood, there was a name from a couple years back.
Lions release Sage Surratt.
Yay.
Sage Surratt. Wake Forest. Not very good.
No, not very good.
Not very good.
Azigbo, Abdullah, we talked about them.
Matt McCosk gone. Saints release Chris Hogan. Yeah, we've reached the James Morgan.
Tariq going to the pop. We talked about
Yeah.
that. I think we've reached the black hole of all the cut downs.
Yeah, we have.
Chad Beebe to IR.
Brian Hoyer released too. Who's the backup to Mac Jones? Jarrett Stidham.
That's it.
Yep. Okay.
It's just Stidham.
good
Jalen
the
Hurd
Patriots,
made the 49ers roster, and he's healthy.
For now.
Just a thing.
For now.
Dokes, by the way, who people thought were going to be a threat in Miami, he's gone. Miles Gaskin's ADP is probably my favorite thing right now.
Him and Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Edmonds is like, it's been just James Conner, and yet Edmonds has been the best value, one of the best value for running backs
Yeah, yeah.
all offseason. All the
I might fuck around and just not take a quarterback on or a running back on Sunday until round 5.
I mean, you draft receivers early.
Yeah.
You go Swift. You go, running backs with high pass catching upside. Swift may not score a lot of touchdowns. Not a lot of Lions players are catching passes there besides Swift and Howard.
Actually, who are my keepers in that league? I don't remember. I don't know if I have anybody worth keeping in that league. We're gonna fuck around and find out. Hold on. Keepers in that league are first and second round value, by the way.
Things we've been talking about. All right, that's it. We just end the show. End the show. We'll talk after the show.
Yeah, probably Calvin Ridley and Don. Calvin Ridley for me and nobody else.
That's fair.
By the way,
you don't need to force. Again, don't
force keepers. Because I could
like
force.
if you can. I played in the league where you have to keep 2.
It's first and second round value, right? If I force it, it's Ridley and probably Higgins or Swift. And
Nope.
that's it.
Maybe Swift. No. Right now it's just Ridley.
Not at second round value, no. Right now it's just Ridley at first round value. Which is tough, but given what's going to be available, right? So
Yeah. There'll be guys there for you.
there'll be guys there in yeah. Okay. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap this shit up.
We've talked a lot about a little. Oops. Transition too early. Thank you guys for tuning into the Fireplace episode. I am Beerfield Hop with 2 P's. That's Beerfield Theory. Beerfield Theory. At Beerfield FF on Twitter. We'll be back next week with a preview-ish of week 1. Don't really know how we're going to do that this year. We'll figure it out on the fly.
We'll figure it out, as you guys know from us.
Yeah. We'll probably take a look at matchups, tell you what we think is going to be a barn burners for fantasy. We're not going to go into super obvious shit, so might pick out some bets or something that we like. I don't know. I have no idea how we're going to do it. We'll probably talk about it after we cut this episode. So
We'll figure it out.
we'll talk to you.
We'll see you guys next week.
You know, that really was 2 hours of us bumble fucking through a bunch of shit.
Good for us.